so busy scooping really hard ice cream or something that's what took us so long. But maybe we can just call this the virtual version of that. Technical difficulties do sometimes come up when you're trying to do live broadcasts. So today I'm here with Mike. He's the eSports coordinator for the University of Alaska Fairbanks. And we're going to talk all things eSports, which I know almost nothing about, or maybe less than nothing about. And so this will be a great opportunity for me to learn too, as we're talking today. But first, do you have ice cream? I don't have ice cream today. I'm too cold for ice cream.
During the technical difficulties, I haven't left my coffee behind. I'm poorly equipped to enjoy ice cream or coffee right now. So sadly have to get a rain check on that one.
Oh no. Well, I won't. I'm using my favorite Doctor Who mug right now, so I'm feeling pretty good about the coffee. But maybe you'll have to have coffee after we talk about eSports, I guess. All right. So Mike, first, just for everybody that doesn't know, what is eSports? What does that mean?
I love
people
talking
can
about
laugh at me if I'm completely.
No, you're fine. You ask the questions. It's the right. It's the way I get to talk about the things I love, and you get to learn about things. This is great. Exactly. So esports is such a broad thing these days too, though. In general, you're talking about some type of video game sport competition, though. So instead of maybe like traditional sports like basketball or hockey or something, people are competing in various video game competitions.
So is it all kinds of video games, or is it just the sports ones?
All kinds. So there's leagues for the sport ones, and even a lot of professional leagues have their own esport leagues now. I know hockey and basketball and soccer for sure have their own. Like they actually have their esport athlete as part of their primary team, and they go and represent their team. But that can be all kinds of other things. Like there's lots of, like, one of the biggest ones is a game called League of Legends. When they get to the championship round of that game, it gets the same viewership as like the Super Bowl. So you're talking about a worldwide audience that loves watching this stuff and will tune in and cheer on their favorite teams and their favorite players, just like you would if you were watching a traditional sport.
So where do they stream to? Is it all like on Twitch, which I only know about because our former social media person introduced me to it, or is it other places? Where do they stream?
Twitch is definitely the most commonly used one. It's the one that I've used the most, and it's kind of the default mode that, yeah, if you're wanting to stream your stuff, that's. I mean, I've seen other people do things on Twitch, like people have cooking shows and all kinds of things on Twitch. But yeah, I mean, a large percentage of it are gamers who are streaming whatever they're playing that day.
And so these are games where you can connect with other people. Mm-hmm. While you're playing, right?
Oh, yep. I mean, like, as much as, I mean, there are some, like, if you think of like games like Mario and Zelda, like they have like other competitions for that kind of stuff, which people do compete in by like how fast they can complete it or something like that. But yeah, most of these are team-based competitive games where you and your team of so many people are trying to figure out, like, you're coordinating with each other and you're figuring out how you're going to get the objectives, and the other team's trying to do the same thing, and then whoever team does it better wins.
And so this is all happening within the game, and then the whole thing is streaming out so people can watch it.
Correct. And you can actually watch it, like, some people prefer to watch it from, you can watch from a single player's perspective. So maybe you really enjoy Jane the gamer, and you just want to, like, watch from her perspective and see what her screen looks like. But then other people, they want all the action, right? They want the broadcasters doing color commentary, just like normal sports, traditional sports. So they kind of give you the play-by-play, which I find helpful because there are so many different competitions that you can watch. You're not going to be an expert on all of them, so it really helps to have those commentators kind of break down, oh, here's what happened in this position, and here's why this team took advantage of this team's error. And so I always try to watch it with the big, broad view where I get to see everything that's going on and learn from the broadcasters about what they see. And because sometimes there's just so much going on, it's so hard to keep track of, that you kind of need that slow motion breakdown of here's what happened in all these little moments.
Yeah, I have to imagine it is pretty intense to watch, because it's if it's analogous to watching like any other sports competition, it still sounds like it's much more sort of immersive and like I mean, you're right. You can be right there in the game, right?
I am biased, but yeah, I think some of the most, the most intense sporting moments that I could think of, there's a lot of esports moments that would be on that top 10 list. I'm a Cubs fan, so the Cubs winning the World Series would also be up there. But there would be a lot of esports moments that were just that that were amazing moments. And then when I feel like I've said this expression a lot this week, but when we weren't in the middle of a pandemic, you could go to like a basketball arena and they would set up the stage, and on the jumbotron would be the players' screens, and you could go and cheer on your team just like any other traditional sport, where you go to the arena and watch the action, and people like dress up in the costumes of the different heroes and characters. People go all out for this stuff.
So it's sort of like a mashup between a sports game and a con or something.
Yeah, it really is. Because it really is. It becomes this convention of all of these people who've traveled from all over the world for their game. Which is another thing I think is really kind of fun about it, is that because it is such like a worldwide phenomenon, but you can, we don't have to travel necessarily to play. Maybe for a finals or something we would travel, but it lets you have teams, from London taking on teams from Chicago, or teams from Tokyo taking on a team from Moscow. Like you get this very interesting kind of like, the thing that I feel like people get really excited about, like during the Olympics or World Cup, you kind of get that, like you get to cheer on your team and cheer on your country. And like that happens all the time in esports, because you're always constantly watching these teams come out of their regions of whatever part of the world that they're in a region of, and you get to cheer on your team from your region. And I don't know, I think it's a blast.
Well, and if you're a player too, just truly just like any other sport, watching these competitions probably helps you become a better player too. I know, when I used to coach soccer when my kids were in school and high school and stuff, and they, we would, if you watched a pro soccer game, you'd be like, oh, look at that play, we should try that, or let's try and, do more of that kind of thing. And so you probably learn strategy and
absolutely. And that's especially even less than maybe the tournaments, but when you're watching them just practice. I'll give you a non-esports example, because I might as well just cover all of the nerdy things right now. There's a Twitch stream I like, and he's one of the top grandmasters of chess in the world. And he'll stream his games online, and he will give you the entire, what's going through his brain, which sometimes is just so hard to keep track of because he's thinking about some move that's 8 moves on. But it's so fascinating because, you really do kind of like, you get better at the thing that you're watching when you're watching someone who's so good at it. And you learn and you pick up things, and it's also fun because then you're a part of that community, right? You're part of this entity that also values, which is, I'm a fan of board games, card games, video games, and I think games just kind of have that power that like they make us spend time together. They make us value each other's time. We have to value the same rules. We have to care about these things. But we both want to compete, but want to be good sports. Like everything about
there's a huge unifying power in community building in sport in general, regardless of what
exactly.
Yeah, definitely. So how does this interface with UAF? You're the UAF eSports coordinator. What is UAF doing in the realm of eSports?
Oh man, what aren't we doing? It is crazy. I've been here slightly over a month now, and I've talked to so many different people from different departments, different colleges, different areas, and everybody is so invested in different ways and capacities, but everybody is just so invested in seeing this come alive. And we've talked about so many different things. The big thing that we got coming up is we're building our esports arena. So we will have like a very central hub where it won't quite be the grandstands of a basketball arena to come and watch, but you can still come and check out things, watch matches. And then so part of that, excuse me, see what happens if I forget my coffee? I start losing my voice. I get so excited. But just there are hundreds and hundreds of colleges that have esports teams, and they're in college leagues, not governed by the NCAA, but different other leagues. Because again, there's so many different games that different colleges can compete in. So we're looking to start some varsity teams that will be able to compete with other colleges, and you'll be able to watch, just like, tuning in to see the standings of your favorite traditional sports team. You can tune in and see how UAF, their League of Legends team is doing, or how their Overwatch team is doing. And so we're hoping to have that kind of like higher caliber level of play that we can compete with other schools. Along with that, we want to be able to offer scholarships, because that's what a lot of other colleges are doing. I think I read for this upcoming year, academically. The amount of scholarships nationwide had quintupled for esports just because so many programs are trying to build it out, and they want to attract the best of the best, just like they do for their other programs. So they've been offering crazy scholarships, which is something that, like, I think my own parents probably laugh at. They're like, "Really, this is a thing?" It's like, yes, mom and dad. And so I'm sure that there are students out there who are trying to convince their mom and dad that there are scholarships available to them. It's true. It is happening. It is how things are moving forward right now. So we're looking to get that kind of higher edge competition. The arena is also going to have a section for computers, and then consoles like your traditional like Nintendo and Xbox and PlayStation, because usually some of the games are required a specific, it's only available on one system. You have to have that system available to compete on it. So we're looking to have all options available to our students. We want them to be able to plug in with the thing that they're interested in. But we also just kind of want to, like, even for someone who doesn't want to, do the thousands of hours it takes to master something, we want to make something available. This is come have some fun with your friends, right? This is a community thing, like, and it can be very intimidating. Take your example of soccer. If you're watching a bunch of really good soccer players, even if you're interested in soccer, it can be a little nerve-wracking to go over and say, "Hey, can you go easy on me? Like, I need to learn the ropes." And it's the same thing.
Show me how to kick the ball with my toe.
But so I get it. It's really hard to sometimes you jump into some of these online games and people are using acronyms. You have no idea what they mean. People are telling you go to the middle tower to do a thing, and you're just like, I have no idea what's going on. So it can be really hard to take that first step and be like, you know what, I'm uncomfortable and I have no idea what's happening here. Part of that is we want to make that a positive experience for people. So, even if they're not planning on becoming a pro, they should still be able to recreationally, hop online and enjoy sometimes doing some games. So I think we're trying to offer, just make sure that there's something for everybody, because there is. Like, I'm a firm believer, whenever anybody tells me that they're not a gamer, I believe them, but I also just think that means they just don't know enough about games to know what the right game is for them, right? It's whenever anybody tells me they don't like games, I always make the analogy. It's like saying you don't like food. There might be some food you don't like, but there's definitely some food you like, and we just have to figure out what it is you like.
Yeah.
So there's a game for everybody.
It's true. And in that way, again, I mean, I keep going back to sports analogies, but, it's not all that different from any other sport, right? People are oftentimes intimidated. I also coach Special Olympics cross country skiing, and people are sometimes intimidated by cross country skiing because they think it's, only for people that are like hardcore spandex, clad people. But it's a really accessible sport, and it sounds like a lot of these are the same way. You can get in at the level you're at.
For sure. And I think another thing that I do like about that is they really do, because they want to eliminate as many barriers as possible, right? So if you're concerned that maybe my computer is not high speed enough, there are games that were designed for computers that aren't as high end. You don't have the sweet $100 gamer headphones that make you look like a professional. You don't need them, right? Like, if you have them and you want to go that route, that's fine. But that's not something that's required. And a lot of these games, I find this really fascinating too, and this is a whole nother business conversation. You can get a lot of games for free. They have different things you can buy in the game that like, maybe it's a fancy hat for your character because you wanted a fancy hat for your character. And people do. People love their fancy hats on their characters. I
play Pokemon Go, and oh my Lord, like the different things that you can do in that game.
Exactly, right? But it's something that it's you can download it for free and try it out, which I think is what they're really hoping people do, is just kind of, check these things out and see what's available to them. And then if it's for them, they're going to get involved, and then every day they're going to be playing more. And if it's not for them, they'll move on, and that's fine too. And I see there's actually a question in chat. I was getting to this too. So for those who don't know, Alaska last year, ASA sanctioned eSports as one of the high school state competitions. There were 3 games that they adopted. And as much as we'd love to have people here, again, with COVID, we're not able to invite people in for our arena when it's open, right? Well, maybe when the arena's open, everything will hopefully be good. But we definitely would like to have some partnerships with the high schools. I know I actually came from Kodiak, and I was the high school coach there. And I talk to other coaches all the time, and this is, I mean, obviously this is something I'm passionate about and I love this, but a lot of the other coaches I would talk to, they would be, you know, the random librarian that got conned into coaching the team because they were so excited about having a team, but they had no idea what these games were about, and they felt so lost as coaches. So I think that like UAF could have a really interesting impact on just helping not just the high school students grow in their ability to game, but help the coaches who might be feeling lost right now and need some mentorship about, you know, how do I manage all this? Because another thing that's absolutely crazy to me about esports, and like I don't even know how to, this one, there's no traditional sport analogy for it, I don't think.
Right.
But you know, they're constantly updating the software, right? They're like just like, you know, Windows or Apple's constantly updating things. These games are constantly updating. But that means that sometimes little tweaks change. And when it comes to sports, tweaks mean all the difference. So, you know, if everybody came back for the basketball season and you were like, we moved the free throw line by 6 inches, you're like, well, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But you're like, no, like if you've trained for this specific thing, changing something that little can throw you off. And yet esports athletes have to deal with it all the time, where they're constantly, you know, figuring out, oh, what do they update this time? Oh, they made this item do this instead. Oh, this changes how we do everything. And it's crazy, but I think that's part of the fun problem solving that esports allows for, is that, you know, as the game designers say, oh, you know, we don't like how powerful this thing is. We're gonna change this a little bit. It affects everything in the game and everybody has to adapt. But nobody finds that to be like a frustration. It's like it's a fun problem to solve, right? It's like, all right, how are we going to do this now? How are we going to work with this?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the mentality we like to build in people. So like, let's have more of that.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously, you know, while COVID is going on, doing sort of having people get together in the arena is not going to be possible. But I mean, this is something that you can still kind of build even in the virtual world, right? I mean, you don't necessarily need an arena.
I was talking to some students yesterday for orientation, and I don't think there's ever been a better time to get into finding a game of your choice, right? So I think, yeah, I'm hoping that it's a little hard. Like, this is where I feel very lost. I've only been here a month because I want to build relationships with people. I want to get to know people and figure out the things. And it's hard to do that when we're waving over the webcams. And as much as I really want to build those strong relationships, it's going to be a little more challenging. But at the same time, yeah, like this is the best time to get into gaming. This is the best time. And we've got, there's a Facebook page that people can check out and know what's going on. There's a program called Discord that a lot of gamers use to help stay connected. And I know I've been working with the president and the vice president to get our Discord kind of making sure it's updating, and as new students, whether they're learning at a distance or they're here on campus, they all are welcome, right? Like they can be hundreds of miles apart and still compete with us. Which I think is just so crazy.
UAF eSports on Discord.
Mm-hmm. And I'll probably throw the link on the Facebook chat when I get back to my computer so people can access that for sure.
Oh, that's a great idea, definitely. And so we're actually talking, though, and I don't know what the timeline is on it, but we're actually talking about joining some, I don't know if they call them conferences or leagues or whatever, but with some actual official teams that will be, you know, the official UAF esports teams, and will compete with other universities.
For sure. That is definitely one of the goals. Which, again, it's kind of nice that, you know, esports can continue to go on even during COVID happening. So it just requires the organization and getting the teams together, and you know, students have not been checking their email too much over the summer, but those that have reached out to, they're just so excited to like build this and make this, like, this is something that a lot of the students here have wanted for a while.
Yeah.
And so like they're very excited about me being here. I've gotten some very interesting emails, but I love it all because it's fantastic, and it just shows the strong potential they have here. To just make all this happen. And I think it's wonderful, because I think the other crazy thing about esports is that it is constantly changing. One of the most popular games right now didn't even come out until June or July. So, you know, like how do you prepare for that other than being very flexible, right? So I love that the model and approach that we've been taking here at UAF is to kind of, you know, see where our students are at, see what our students are interested in, build a facility that's going to accommodate those interests in the long term. I don't know. I'm just excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, what can people expect this academic year, because this is the first like full academic year that this has been. We've had an official program in place, I guess, and a person running it. Can we expect? I mean, are we going to have those teams pulled together? Hopefully, at least a little bit this year. Are we going to be able to have competitions where people can tune in and watch?
That is the hope and the plan. But even literally, I can hear my computer dinging at me. It's probably like I've been talking. It's sadly it is just like the rest of the world, because even though esports is something you can do at a distance, the people coordinating it, they've all been quarantining themselves, right? So a lot of these entities that organize these events, they've kind of had to put things on ice for a little bit as they get their own companies together and their sponsorships for the tournaments or whatever else they need. And I think everybody's kind of waiting to see how things are going for the timeline. So I'm hoping that we're going to be entering some of these competitions as they happen, but there's a lot of waiting going on. But I think even in the meantime, that doesn't have to stop us from, getting teams together, practicing together, bringing in those new people who maybe they don't think of themselves as a gamer, but they're willing to put in some practice and learn from some of the students around here who maybe have more experience. I think that it's not going to stop us from growing and really reaching out and making sure our current students know, and hopefully our prospective students know, that this is something that's here to stay. It's going to be pretty awesome, and they should be a part of it if they can.
Yeah, totally. And it's probably the equivalent of you may have varsity sports, but you also have a lot of schools have intramurals, basically, where everybody can play. It sounds like we're kind of aiming for both, if possible.
I think so. Yeah, I think having I would love to have a more recreational side, because I know that's kind of what a lot of students, even around here, when they had the esports club, that was what a lot of it was yes, there were some students who were taking things seriously, but a lot of students were coming by just they wanted to hang out with some friends and play some games and relax. And I think I've said this about 17 times, but I'll say it again. Like, I love all kinds of games, and I don't see like esports needing to be like this narrow window of, we will only compete in the most popular games with the highest payouts and scholarships, or whatever. I think there's a place for everybody at the esports virtual table, and just got to figure out what that spot is for everybody.
Definitely. Well, I really like the idea of you sharing the information about the Discord server. And I don't know does eSports have a website on the UAF page or someplace that people could go to just get more information?
We are in the process of that, so be excited for that to come out soon.
Okay. Is it going to be where is it going to live? Is it going to be off of the Center for Student Engagement, or? I
believe that is the goal. Yes.
All right, awesome. Well, you can always feel free to come back once that's up and running. Come back and post it in the chat on this
for sure.
This thing. But Discord's a good place to start. Even I know what Discord is.
There you go. All right, see, there you go. Then you're all set.
Go though.
I mean, people should email me. I'll throw my email in the chat too, probably. But like, I am interested in all of these different avenues. Because I see the potential everywhere, and I see the excitement, and I want to channel it and funnel it and make this all a reality for people. So if people have ideas of, they've got their own high schoolers who are, looking to get involved and want to know what games to play, or, whatever questions people have, I would love, like, this is something I have a hard time stop talking about. So just let me know questions, and I'll do my best to help people get connected where they need to get connected.
It sounds really awesome. It sounds very inclusive, something that pretty much anybody can have a part of. And, it's awesome that you're being able to kind of build it from the ground up here at UAF. I think there is a ton of potential, and, we're good. I mean, we could be like the northernmost esports team, which would be awesome.
I'd have to check that out. But I will say, like, you talk about the inclusiveness. I don't remember the exact stats, but since last year was the first year that the high school level was able to compete, I know that they saw schools that they're in village schools that don't have a lot of easy access to compete with other high schools, we had so many high schools that, you know, had never participated in a group sport like that before, who were able to join us in competition. And I just thought, like, I mean, Alaska's so unique in that regard. I thought it was just so cool to watch that happen. And yeah, to be able to kind of be like a hub for that now, and hopefully bring more of that support and love for it here, I think is just so cool.
Yeah, man, finding your community and the people that these kind of relationships that you build is so important certainly for high schoolers and college students. And this sounds like it has huge potential to do that both within the UAF community and then just really worldwide. I mean, you could meet people from all over the place doing this.
And it's one of those things. I mean, if for those who've not, if this is the first time you're hearing about esports, I highly encourage you to Google it on your favorite news site and just read the crazy stats of just how fast this, like, fast but sustainably growing thing this is, because it's something that the current college students want it for sure, but the middle school students, the high school students, they're all, they're watching Twitch as much as they're watching Netflix or anything else, and they're aspiring gamers. This is the growing trend, and I think it's awesome.
Awesome. Well, that's cool. So I think we're getting short on time. Is there anything else that folks need to know about this? I know you're going to share some information in the chat box so that people can reach out if they're interested, but anything else you want to tell people before we sign off today?
Be excited about that arena. Be excited about, hopefully having some future community events that we can host here. And, maybe if you're an alumni in chat and you're really into esports, let's get ourselves an alumni versus current student matchup. Like, whatever, all the crazy ideas. I think crazy ideas are sometimes the best ideas. So you know what? I'm just excited because I think that we're going good places, and I hope everybody stays tuned for the insanity.
Awesome. Very good. All right. Well, thank you so much, Mike. This has been super awesome and fun.
I'm glad to hear it.
Talking about it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how things roll this year and everything that we're able to do. So you got a lot of work ahead of you, but it sounds like it's going to be a good time.
Oh, I'm pumped. Let's do it.
All right. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for joining us all summer at Ice Cream Thursdays, and have a great rest of your day.